Grant here, and I'm still riding along on the Healthtrain. Today, if you're interested in making your own gym, or you want to see where myself trains or where my brother, who's an aspiring powerlifter, trains, come and have a look inside. Okay, first of all, you've got to ensure that your ground is okay for lifting those heavy ass weights, or as we're in England in the winter it gets quite chilly, so you want to make sure it's nicely insulated. So we've got double carpet here for when you're dropping your weights. We've got another carpet there just past this, and we've got a deadlift platform at the end, which I'll show you in a second. Make sure that it's taped down, and sure it's insulated and no crap can get underneath. Okay, so you're in the gym, you want to lift weights, you want to make some guns. You've got to have a little curl station. Obviously not essential, but you know, it's the summer. I want to do some curls for girls. All over that. Get the guns out. Curls for the girls. Right. Next, obviously in a gym, if you want to lift weights, you want to do big compound movements, you need to have bench press. We've got some weight on here, 140. My brother was lifting that earlier. Bit of a beast. You need to have a decent bar. We started on the shorter, smaller diameter barbells, which are just over in the corner, which sufficed for a while. However, we've started lifting heavier weights, so they've started to bend. The weights we've used, we've made a bit of a collection down here that was absolutely fine, but we kind of have progressed on to newer bars and newer things. So we've obviously got this bar here for bench pressing. It's a bit of a thicker diameter, but if you want to deadlift, you want to have a bit of a thinner bar. I'll show you that in a second. You also need, obviously, to train some legs, a squat rack. These here will go around to this side, and you can do some nice heavy ass squats. It'll also help with doing some overhead press. So you can have this for squats and for overhead press. It's quite a good system. Obviously, combining the squat rack and the bench press saves room as well if you've got a smaller garage like myself and my brother. Another piece of essential equipment is a pull-up bar. You need a pull-up bar, do some pull-ups, grow those lats, grow those wings. You can also obviously do some abs. Bent leg, straight leg, or toes to bar. Ooh. Woo. So it's quite a good piece of equipment to have. We've also got a cable in here. This is quite good for warming up your rotator cuffs or anything along those lines. We have an easy bar, curls for the girls, and we've also got, if you're going to be learning some Olympic lifts like snatch or anything like that, it's good to start on just a lighter bar. It's also good for a bit of shoulder mobility if you need to start improving on that. Like so.
Nice.
As I said earlier, you need to make sure your ground is ready for lifting those heavy ass weights. So it's good to have a decent deadlift platform. This probably cost about 50 quid altogether just for these mats, but it's definitely worth it because last time we had some cheaper ones which are now still utilising against the wall to protect the wall, but they got mashed up very quickly, as you can see. Broken. So leaning against the wall, you just saw there we've got our new weights that we're now using with this new Texas Power Bar. It's got a slightly thinner diameter. It's got some nice strong grip on it, some really stiff knurling, which is good for your deadlifts and so forth. You need an old school stereo, obviously, to blast out them tunes when you need to pump through that last set and lift some heavy ass weight. Obviously you also need to have some chalk just to make it look rustic.
Magnesium carbonate.
And lots of de-icer as it's still a garage. Over here we have Ronnie Coleman showing us the way. Got a dipping belt, good for weighted dips and good for heavy ass pull-ups. And here I had a pec tear before, and this was good for my rehabilitation. I still use it for rotator cuffs. Over here, an essential piece of equipment. You always have to have a piece of equipment in your gym that you don't really know what it's for or know what it does. So it's like a spring thing where you can do this, you can do this, if you're training for arm wrestles, you can kind of do this. Maybe as a kind of didgeridoo as well. Don't really know what it does.
Like a shake weight.
Like a nice old school shake weight or something from the 80s, you know, retro. And finally, well, we've also got a little makeshift shelf. Need some gloves for the winter when it's cold. You don't need them normally because you want to grow them calluses. And finally we have a 1 rep max board. You need to have this just to make sure you're making progression. I've got my all-time up here and my post-pec tear records here, so it's good just to see what you can progress in. I've also got a notepad which I write down every workout in. It's pretty good. Finally, the final, you have to have an old rustic mirror with a chip in it for form, and just to, if no one else is there admiring you, you can admire in yourself. Stay on the health train. Comment below.